Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. Well, this may seem like a rather odd way to introduce a review on water pumps, but it does tie into the reasons why I am doing a review on water pumps instead of what I was planning to do before this. You see how windy it is there? Well, that was a day before the storm actually hit the city. And it was, well, fairly short in duration, but it was really, really intense. And a lot of trees got knocked over, and over 200 hydro poles got knocked down. Or for those of you who don't live in Canada, we use a lot of hydroelectricity, but electrical poles. So they were knocked down. Over 175,000 people were without power, including us, and we were one of the more fortunate ones because our power got put on again, I think it was about 23 hours later, which meant once that had happened, I had to go down to the fish room, of course, make sure everything was fine. A lot of my stuff is run by air pumps, and it was really, really quite straightforward and easy for me to set that up. I am going to go into some detail on all those sorts of things on Sunday's vlog if you're interested. Tune into that, and I'll go through things that you need to do, of course, when you have power outages, plus having a look at the fish room. So that leaves me with this, because I also had to go out and, for the clients to have power currently, make sure everything's fine for them, do a lot of running around, make sure everything's working properly, and then of course I'm going to have to go back again and do some cleanup and stuff. So it ate up an awful lot of time. The poll I put up for this was a poll saying, if you're interested in reviews on various things that you use in a fish room, please let me know, yes or no. It got the lowest response of any of the polls I've put up to date. So there really isn't a lot of interest out there. But I'm going to do this video because this is actually one that I care about a great deal, because I do use an awful lot of water pumps. Not in the fish room per se, not anymore anyway, but I do use an awful lot of course, for clients. So I'm going to do this. We'll see how it goes. Leave comments, of course. Let me know what you think about all that. And, well, let's just get on to the video. When I first started doing a maintenance business for people, and actually probably a little bit before then, I think, one of the water pumps I really, really liked and got a lot of good use out of, and I actually thought I still had one in the fish room, but I think it was gone. I think it finally did give up the ghost, but that was 35-40 years of use, so let's say it had done its job. And that pump was, and the pumps I used to use, of course, were made by Eheim. I really liked Eheim. It was a great company. They did make a lot of really useful and reliable, though slightly expensive, water pumps in this particular case, but other stuff as well. And I used them, like I said, for a very long time, long enough that sometimes they had a plastic coating on their magnetic impellers, and enough that sometimes that would just wear down to nothing. And that was kind of impressive, considering it takes an awful lot to wear those down, because they have a little jacket of water around them. So about 20 years ago or less, I suspect, they started, instead of making them in Germany, they did the same thing that everyone else does, and that is farm them out to, other countries to do the manufacture for them, stick their name on them, and hopefully, the quality is the same. Well, slightly before that started to happen, I switched over to the pump you see on the left, which is a Supreme Mag Drive. They were considerably cheaper, over $100 cheaper at the time. And someone told me, well, they're actually really quite reliable and they haven't had any issues with them. And the thing I liked about them over the Eheim ones is you can see they're screw-on fittings, so I can make them in line, which is really useful. And I used them for a couple of decades, no problem at all. I would have, at that time, recommended them thoroughly to anybody who wanted a water pump without hesitation. And then something happened. Who knows what it was. Their manufacturing quality really dropped off, and I was having issues with their housings cracking, and also water seeping into the pump itself, and having them swell up inside, and definitely just a whole pile of different ways of them to fail. And it was getting quite discouraging because it was very difficult to find replacements for them and like get like a better quality pump. So I moved over to the pump in the middle there for some smaller jobs, some stuff I was doing in the fish room, and for smaller tanks for clients. And as you can see, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but CC I think is the way to pronounce it. That is a CC pump there, but one that I wouldn't recommend because not for maybe general use for you guys, but you know what I do is I do an awful lot of inserts and connecting this sort of pump to various other kinds of plumbing to run filters and all that sort of stuff. And I was having issues with them with the housing cracking. There's going to be, I did a video on it a little while ago, and I'll put a link to it below, and you can go have a look at that if you like. But that's nothing to say that the pumps themselves are bad. But I moved over to the one on the right now. This is, again, a CC, but they're the Synchro Silent. And they have screw-on fittings for them. These are a very good pump. I bought, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's about 8 or 9 of them so far. They're all working perfectly fine over the last couple of years. I really do like them. I start off with the 0.5s, and I've moved up to the 1s now. I'm having no issues with it. I think one of them is having a bit of trouble now with one of the setups I did, but I haven't managed to get it out of that setup yet to have a look at to see what the problem is. It could simply just be plugged up and it's just in an awkward place to get to. There'll be videos coming up with that in the near future, and you can have a look at those. But in general, they're a very good pump. Haven't had any problems with them. They're easy to DIY. That's one of the things I really like about them as well. You can pull that cap off. You can do, as you can see on the box, there's a screw-on fitting there, but you can also put one on the other on the intake side. You can do all kinds of funky things with them as far as plumbing them to whatever thing you want to run, and they have reasonably good power. I haven't done or used, I should say, any of the higher ones yet, the larger ones. I am planning in the future to give it a try, and there's some videos I'm going to have coming up about, I'm going to do some mini sumps for one of the tanks, or maybe 2 of the tanks in the fish room, and I'm going to use this style of pump for that. So, long story short, I do really like the Synchro Silent pumps. They are definitely the one I use currently in all the projects I do, and we'll see how they do long term, and of course I will be using some of the larger models. Now, as far as Eheim goes, I have not used them since they started farming out their production to other companies. If anyone has any experience with that, definitely leave a comment below, let me know. And as far as the middle pump, it's a CC as well. I don't remember the exact brand anymore. If you're not doing anything DIY with it, if you're just actually using it as a pump, it's fine. This doesn't suit what I do. And as far as other pumps, I do have experience with a great many of them. But unfortunately, my experience is only on either singleton models or units, and not enough of a size pool for me to give a recommendation one way or another for them. So I'm going to leave that as is. If you guys have any pumps that you've had experiences with that you like, dislike, or whatever, definitely leave a comment below. Let me know, and I can have a look into it. And of course, we can get a dialogue going on that sort of stuff as well. So as I said, this is not what I intended to do today. If there's continued interest in this, I will go on and do some other stuff as well. I am going to, I think, even if there is no interest, cover air pumps, because there's an awful lot of those, and I've had some issues with some of them, and hopefully we can get some interest going on that as well, and see if people have brands that they like about those. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think below, and I will catch you in the next video, and bye for now.